So today we're joined by Ari, an MIT computer science student whose passion for digital health, biotech, and social impact ventures is not going to inspiring us, but she's going to share her journey with us today. So I'm just so excited to have you here, Ari. Before we begin, I'd like to ask our guest speakers, please tell us one fun fact about you.
So, a fun fact about me is that I was in the spelling bee in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and I didn't want to originally compete in it, but my parents were like, Ari, you're such a bookworm, so you should just go for it and do it. And so I was probably like the least interested person in the spelling bee because I didn't like spelling at all. I just ended up there three years in a row, and my
Oh
school.
my God. Oh, I love it because my kids are bookworms as well. They read like always 2 grade ahead of their, levels. And I always wanted to enter them. Like, where can I, spelling bee in the second and fourth. But now I heard 6. I have to ask you because I really want to enter them. So that was one of my things that I always feel like my kids will be great at it. So, Ari, how is your passion, into computer science and technology? Like, what led you to, get into that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was in 6th grade, and my school did this project called Business America, where we had to kind of build something and kind of act out as if it were a business and then sell it to our classmates. And I really loved playing video games. And so I decided I wanted to create my own video game and sell it to my classmates. So I ended up making this game called Circle Physics. And it was just like a bouncing circle kind of platformer. And yeah, you'd have to like complete the levels. And so honestly, doing that taught me a lot about math, computer science, physics. And from there, I was telling my parents, Mom, Dad, I want to be an indie game developer. And they were like, oh, that's very nice, sweetheart. But yeah, I just ended up going into computer science, and that's how that happened. But my parents were the type of parents who were like, you should be a doctor. You should be a doctor.
Yeah.
So that's where my healthcare passion started out. And then I just decided to blend the two of them. I realized I don't have to be pre-med. I don't have to go to medical school, but I can still combine healthcare and computer science and digital health.
So is there any challenges that you encountered, pursuing your digital health and AI?
Yeah, so one of the core challenges is definitely data access and equitable data access. So, as you know, in order for these AI applications, these AI models to be trained, you need a lot of data. And in healthcare, there's a lot of regulations. You need to follow HIPAA protocols, you need to work with hospitals, you need to maintain like the highest privacy standards. So sometimes data access can be a challenge, but I've been a proactive person in working with the labs that I've been working at, like the MIT Mobile Technology Lab and the MIT Media Lab. There are a lot of connections and partnerships with hospitals and other research labs, and just talking to people and reaching out has been a good way to get data sources. And in addition, so I'm a woman of color, I'm a Latina woman, and so equitable data access is really important. For example, sometimes patients of color data samples in healthcare are underrepresented.
Definitely.
There are like different conditions that disproportionately affect people of color. So when I'm training my models, I always try to make sure that we have equitable representation. Can be equal and as accurate as possible for these communities.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see that there's so many not like backlash, but like it happens, like how generative AI show like a completely different, like the colors and also like different data. So thank you for pursuing that and just kind of like emphasizing like making sure that minority is represented. So thank you so much for that. And definitely you're a founder of Astrania. Did I say it right? Astrania.
Astrania, yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do there?
Yeah, so that's an initiative that I've been working on, and I'm really proud of it. It is
Mhm.
essentially an encyclopedia of AI education resources for the Global South, all created and curated in Spanish. I noticed that there
Oh.
were a lot of different nonprofit organizations that were trying to help promote AI education, but
Mhm.
but it was so hard to find those resources and connect the dots because they're either all working in different countries, or maybe they haven't reached the right schools, or maybe they
Mhm.
haven't reached the right students. And so what Astrania is trying to do is connect the dots between everything together so that people can more easily access these resources that exist and are out there, especially
Mhm.
for Spanish speakers where there isn't as much of a knowledge about AI, and that the digital divide is a big challenge. So
Mhm.
some of our features include an auto updating job board with like AI job opportunities. We plan to launch a mentorship program, a newsletter. We have like this database of all these curated resources, and we definitely have hopes in the future to expand the program. We've already
Mhm.
reached out to 20 universities, over
Oh,
20 universities
beautiful.
in Latin
Mhm.
America, and gotten
Mhm.
signups.
Oh, that is amazing. Yeah, definitely. We're in America, we're lucky, and especially where I am, like Silicon Valley, SF, Bay Area. And we're just having AI events everywhere, every single day. But, as in another country, I feel like it's still very new to them. Maybe they can only, like learn about AI through like media, news, like a big outlet, and where they don't have access to like, everything that we do. So thank you for your initiative, Astrania, and that's just really beautiful. And how do you like translate, like do you use AI applications, to kind of like making Astrania as available, as possible to your native Spanish speakers?
Yeah, so I'm a native Spanish speaker, so I'm able to translate it on my own, but the AI like translation is actually so useful because it can make translations that are widely accessible in all sorts of different languages. And of course, I
Mhm.
would rather use manual translation for now because it's more accurate to the native language. But
Oh.
in the future, I think that
Mhm.
as AI's capabilities continue to evolve, we'll move above that, that sort of Google Translate level to even closer to native language. And I think
Mhm.
as we get more and more data available, then we should be able to do that. So I
Oh.
think AI translation is great. I'm not currently using it, but I think it is a
Mhm.
great tool.
Yeah, I love that because you want to dive deep first, understanding the content and, translating it yourself. Definitely, once you have the training models, maybe you can do it the way that you've been doing. So it's more accurate that way. I do believe that. So looking ahead, how do you envision the role of AI evolving in digital health and social impact ventures, especially in your market niche that you're trying to make changes?
Yeah, so I've been working on a field called digital phenotyping, and
Mm-hmm.
for about 1.5 years at the MIT Mobile Technology Lab. And to give a little
Mm-hmm.
description of what digital phenotyping is, our
Mm-hmm.
smartphones are filled with data in their sensors. You can use the accelerometer to determine your heart rate. You can take a look at phone unlocks and see
Mm-hmm.
whether a person's using their phone actively or passively, typing or scrolling or watching a video. You can look at your step count. You can look at your
Mm-hmm.
sleep habits, sleep,
Oh, amazing. Mm-hmm.
and all of this data can be used to derive trends in your behavior and help manage your mental health, help manage your productivity,
Uh-huh.
and even help people who are fighting mental illnesses or substance use
Wow.
disorders.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that there's tremendous potential in this field for a variety of applications, and especially in social impact, because having a phone that can has these basic sensors, even the most basic phone doesn't have to be an iPhone. It has
Yeah.
a gyroscope, accelerometer, GPS, and so
Mm-hmm.
we can actually lower the cost. Instead of using conventional wearables like the Apple Watch and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
we can lower the cost by using something that's way more widely available to marginalized communities and help them monitor their physical and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just a tremendous potential, and that's a field that I'm really proud to be a contributor to.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. And is it available for everybody to use right now, or are you guys still in the building stage?
Right now, there are definitely research labs and companies incorporating digital phenotyping approaches. For example, there's this platform out of Harvard called B-Way, and there's just various other companies and research labs. But of course, it's always great to have more people involved in this field. And a lot of researchers are using digital phenotyping techniques, but they don't realize that there's a name for it. They're like, oh, we're using smartphone data for longitudinal analysis, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that, oh, it's called digital phenotyping. So I think bringing awareness to that will show people that, yes, the technology has been validated and the technology is available, and more people should be using it and working on it.
Definitely. Yes, every single one. That's like an assistant, personal assistant, monitoring your health and also improving, your overall productivity as well, right? Oh my God, that's amazing. So, for those who inspired by your journey, is there any advice you would offer, especially, for those who like just entering college, and pursuing, like what advice would you have for them in could be in general or pursuing digital health and AI?
My general advice for anyone who's interested in some sort of STEM career research field is to be proactive. I can't
Mm-hmm.
tell you how many of my peers who are really smart and really hardworking let opportunities pass them by because they feel too shy to like cold
Definitely.
email a professor. They feel like, oh, I don't want to bother them. Oh, I
Yes.
don't want to bother the person. They are so
Mhm.
credentialed and I'm not. But honestly, go for it because all
Right.
of your mentors are humans. All of your
Definitely.
mentors, they are more than willing to help out a student who shows passion.
Mhm.
So send that cold email, send that DM, send that
Mhm.
job application, really put yourself out there and
I
be
love
confident in yourself. Especially for women and especially for women of color. I feel like we're
colors.
not
Uh-huh.
as used to being assertive in the
Mhm.
workplace or in academics, but go for
Mhm.
it, and I'm
Yeah.
also available as a resource. I've
Oh,
counseled students before, and
you're
I've
amazing.
had mentees, so
Mhm.
contact me if you have any questions about how to get into this field.
How do people contact you? How do people find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram pretty actively. My Instagram is Arinthia, Arintheia. We can probably put that in the chat or something. And
Uh-huh.
I'm also, if you search up my full name, then you should be able to
Mhm.
find my LinkedIn and Twitter, or X as it's called
Mhm.
now.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes, definitely. I'll share it. I'll add it on the description after our live stream. So that's amazing, Ari. Thank you for sharing your inspiring journey and insight with our listeners today. Your dedication to harness AI power and positive change and go for what you want, be aggressive, love the advices that you're sharing. So thank you for being on our live stream. Imagine the possibility with AI.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a great initiative, and I'm glad I got to be part of it.
Yes, of course. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Talk soon. Bye.